Right now, Ben is the Executive Director of the Liberty Tree Foundation for the Democratic Revolution. Liberty Tree collaborates with organizations and individuals to build strategic pro-democracy campaigns that directly challenge illegitimate power, dismantle oppression, and develop the skills necessary to lay the foundation for a democratic revolution. Let's give a big welcome to Ben Manski.
Before I got up here, Robbie said, have fun, and I definitely intend to do that tonight. It's really a wonderful honor to be here with the progressive community in western Wisconsin. La Crosse is one of my favorite towns in Wisconsin. Having grown up in Madison, we used to come up here on the weekends sometimes, and then maybe in terms of organizing, I've been up here for a lot of the work that you guys have done over the years. Very happy to see that La Crosse is one of the 34 municipalities in Wisconsin that voted for immediate withdrawal from Iraq. Laid the foundation for what happened in the 2 years since. So, I want to start off not only recognizing that, but also recognizing some people here in the room. First of all, anybody who's been to jail for justice here? All right, I want to first of all say thank you for your time, and I want to ask everybody to join me. So please give them a round of applause. Everyone, quite a few hands for that. And I expect even more are going to go up. How many folks here are working day in and day out to make the promise of America real? How many people here are thinking about doing that? I'm glad to have you guys here even more, actually. So, please give yourselves a hand for all the work that you're doing on a regular basis, because it's your victory that we're celebrating here tonight. Come on, you can do better than that. You can pat yourselves on the back. Come on. That's very good. I was told that this was a talk that was going to be about a new day, and I have to tell you, when I was talking with Rosie and Abby about that topic, I really started to scratch my head. Gosh, that's a broad topic, and who knows what's coming? And I've been thinking about it hard and grappling with it. And one of the things that's really most astounding about this moment is there's so many people who've been doing organizing for a long time. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what's coming. I was talking with David Cobb, I was talking with George Martin, talking with Medea Benjamin, all these folks, in DC, traveling around. We don't really know what to expect, because we have this sense of possibility right now. We haven't had that sense of possibility until just now, right? We've been in resistance for years, and now we have a sense of possibility. We don't know what we're going to achieve. Okay, so that's what I guess what brought home for me. That particular subject of a new day, and I was thinking about it some more, and it's really not just a new day because of the election of Barack Obama, as significant as that is. I mean, when Sarah and I were in DC last week for the national launch of the Bring the Guard Home campaign, and also the inauguration, we saw all kinds of people running through the streets, crying, and it was what you would expect. And there was one fellow in particular who was just walking along. He was shouting, "It's okay, white folks. It's all right. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I can't believe America is going to be taking direction from a black man." And he just kept on saying that over and over and over again. So, I mean, I don't mean to take away from the significance of what has happened. But I think there's also a deeper significance that comes from the organizing that everybody's been doing, which is that I think for the first time, America has started to really come to reckon with the deep ecological, economic, and frankly imperial problem that we have been suffering through for the last generation after generation, really since the beginning of the Cold War, in my view. And what we've really seen, I think, is not only that we have elected a new president, a new Congress, a new legislature, but we have also seen that for the first time, it's not just a majority, but really a super majority of Americans have said, all right, we're going to do something about this. We have the capacity to change this country in a fundamental way, not just by electing people in Washington, but by organizing, by changing our communities. So I think that's very powerful, because what it means is that the majority who have been disengaged, the silent majority, if you will, have really become engaged in a way that I think we can count on. I mean, I was talking with Guy Wolf here earlier when we got here, and Guy was telling me about all the new initiatives in the community here, and I said, yeah, it feels good to have reinforcements. For some of us who've been down in the trenches, I grew up in Madison. I got involved at an early age. I've been down in the trenches for decades. And you know what? For those people who have gotten involved in the last couple of years, thank you. We've been waiting. We've been waiting, and it feels really good to have this kind of community growing. You know, I think that really all of us together here tonight are a symbol of the change that we've experienced. I do want to talk a little bit about the feeling in DC, and I'm going to ask folks to do a little bit of singing here tonight, because you know, the feeling in Washington, and was anybody else there? We're lucky to be able to plan way ahead. It got very expensive. We planned back in May. We knew we were going to be there to either protest or celebrate or what have you. We were able to make it out there. But you know, the feeling was both one of celebration, but also one of some pretty deep seriousness, because you know, Washington is a place that really is just as isolated from the rest of the country as we all say it is. I mean, every time I go to Washington, I'm just stunned at how out of touch people there are. Even our allies, even our friends, even the radicals, even the progressives there are living in a different world. They listen to C-SPAN on the radio, right? You know, who here, you know, here's Congress deliberating. You know, we get from rock and roll to hip hop, you know, country, whatever it is, depending where you are in Wisconsin. They have a different culture, but even for folks in DC, they've started to really come to grips with just how serious this economic crisis is in particular. So there was some real seriousness there, and so, you know, after standing there for 5 hours with the crowds and people waiting for the moment when Barack Obama took the oath and would take it twice, you know, everybody could tell that John Roberts had screwed up the moment that happened. That wasn't the point at which people celebrated the most. The point at which there was the greatest celebration was when Dick Cheney came up. It really was, and it was predictable. People started singing, and I don't know if anybody heard it on the radio. No. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, goodbye. So if you want to be part of that, you can sing right now. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey, 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 goodbye. And it was up on top of one of the rooftops over there, and they were singing for a while, and then over to the right, you know, it was rolling through the crowd, and you know, that was really, I think, you know, the sort of seriousness was about Obama, the seriousness was about what we're going to have to do, but the celebration was that we were closing the door on one of the most tyrannical regimes that our country has ever experienced. You know, people who really did believe that they were above the law, that they were above the Constitution, that the people were there to serve them. The Congress had no war powers role. Talk about a laughable thing to allege. So, you know, that was really, I mean, that was a lot of fun. That part of it was a lot of fun. And really that closing the door, it was sort of a closing of the door not only on Bush and Cheney, but also on a whole period of American history where there were a lot of very positive things that were done, great victories that were won, you know, generation after generation, the labor movement, civil rights, women's lib, gay liberation, you know, the modern environmental movement, so many things that came together. The great victory, which is coming up on its 10th year anniversary this November. You can think about what we should be celebrating in November.
Seattle!
Seattle! Very good. Excellent, excellent. Seattle was a great thing, I have to say. That was a great time. And so that's actually something we're going to be working on at Liberty Tree, is helping to put together those celebrations nationally this coming year. You know, but that said, for all that progress that we achieved, the reality is that for most of that time, the U.S. was not a benign force in the international community. We were not a benign player. We were not a respected player. You know, people spat our name rather than look to us as you know, the bearers of liberty, the bearers of the tradition of people struggling for liberation and democracy. And to me, that's always been a very difficult thing to live with. I think for all of us, a very difficult thing to live with, because we know that America's aspirations are great, but the practice in the last century was not great.